Hello there and welcome everyone to this new episode of Random Coding Challenge. For this episode, I want to create nested comments, and they are quite popular. I think I've seen the first one when I was on Reddit, and that is quite extreme. But you know what? Browsing on the internet, I've seen some Frontend Mentor challenges, and they have this challenge on their website. So it's something that you might want to do, you might like to see how it's done. And believe me, it's not as hard as you think. So there's going to be a lot of HTML, and there's going to be a tiny bit of CSS. And I'm just going to use a really small amount of JavaScript to create what is an animation, because now you don't see any comment. But if I do this, oh, now you see it. If I do this, now you see it. So basically, this is going to be the basic structure. You can, of course, style it the way you want. You can make it smaller, you can make it bigger, you can just do whatever you want. Your imagination is the limit. But this is the final result I want to achieve. How do we do that? Well, let's open our text editor and start coding. All right, everyone. So we have the text editor open, and we can start doing what we do best, coding. So the first thing I want to do is I want to create inside this folder an index.html file. And there it is. Style.css. If you were wondering, you can do it right here anyway, like this, in index.js. And the JavaScript is just going to be a very marginal thing later. So I want to start, let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, from the HTML. So this is the emmet shortcut, exclamation mark, and I can call it nested comment indentation. Why not? I want to test it. Let's do an h1, typical hello world. Okay, save, and now I'm going to use live server to see it live. Let's see. And it works. Nice. I got hello world. Everything is fine. One thing that I need to remember, and it's easy to forget, is to link my CSS so that the style can come through. I'm just going to do it like this because I like it better. And also, I'm going to source my script tag, and this is going to be the index.js. Nice. So as I said at the beginning, the HTML is actually going to be the largest part of this project. The CSS is going to be very simple, and JavaScript is going to be simple as well. So when it comes to nesting, it's quite easy to just get lost. So let's do things one by one. First of all, I want to create a div with a class of container, like this, okay? And this is going to be basically my wrapper, my container in the whole body, so that I can have a fixed width or a responsiveness, because I can give this container a responsiveness. The other class that I want to create is a div with the class of comment container, like this. Nice. So basically the container will be, the comment container will be the thing that contains the comments, even the nested ones. And this is actually quite important in this context, because now this is not going to be displayed. This is just the things that it's going to contain the comment. But what it's actually going to be displayed is the comment card, like this, okay? So now inside this card, I'm going to style this card, and the comment is actually going to be displayed here. And in the card, I want like three main things. For now, let's give it an h3, and I'm going to give it a class of, where am I? Of comment title. This is not necessary, but it's just to, you know, not be confused in the nesting level. So I know that this is the first comment, and I can see all the rest. The other thing is a paragraph tag, and I'm just gonna put some lorem ipsum. Let's save. Okay, this is going to be my actual comment, and underneath I'm gonna have another div, but this time this is going to be the comment footer, like this. And inside this comment footer, I'm gonna have I can have divs, I can have span. Let's call divs. And I'm gonna have 3. And the first one is gonna be likes, 1, 2, 3. Then dislikes. YouTube now is hiding that, but we are going to put it in our project because we are smart. And here I can say replies or reply. Yeah, 2. And I'm gonna actually give it a class because I want to attach an event to this one. And I can say show replies like this. Okay, so basically this now is my basic comment. Okay, and if I take a look at it now, it's quite, it's not good looking, it's quite ugly, but we can work on that. Let's start now adding some styling. And you know what, I could start doing, let's add some styling now, and then I will put some more comments inside because I think it's easier to see it with the styles coming through. So let me just do some basic styling. So for the pseudo elements as well. No, not like this. Oh my god. Let's remove the margin. Let's remove the padding. And let's also give it a box sizing of border box. Beautiful. Then I'm going to style my HTML and I'm going to set my font size of 16 pixels. This is going to be my 1 rem. And I always like to give it a mean height of 100%. This is just to give it a relative height to the entire document. Then I'm going to style my body. I'm going to set a mean height of 100 VH so that it takes the full screen, and I'm using mean height so that I can go beyond that, but never smaller. And okay, the body is nice. Now let's style the container. And let me just put this aside so that you can see what I'm doing when I'm doing it. So now I'm styling this class, this container. And this is going to be, it's going to have a width. And I always like to use the min. This is a function in CSS that basically picks the minimum value among 2 values. And you can use percentage, rems, pixels, EMs, whatever you want. And it's super convenient because now my whole thing is responsive, because when I shrink the page and this number gets bigger than this is going to be the width that is going to be picked up by CSS. So that's pretty convenient. When I do that, I also need to give it a margin. I'm gonna say 3 REMs so that it's a little bit moved from the top, and auto, this is left and right, so that it is in the center. Nice. If I do this now and I take a look at it, you can see that it's centered and it's a little bit moved from the top. And if I inspect this, I can show you the world. This is not it. Okay, this is the body, this is the container, and you can see that it's actually there. Nice. Now let's style the comment container, because this is the class that I need like more. For now, I'm just gonna give it a position of relative, and you'll see why in a bit. That is basically what I need to do here. I'm gonna add another class later because I want to be able to open and close this containers, but for now it's good. Let's put a nice pseudo element of before, and this is why I'm using the position relative. When you're using pseudo elements, you need a content, otherwise you're not going to see anything. I'm going to set a background color of I don't know, light gray. Let's say gray. Let's see what comes out. Like very light gray. Like maybe this is too light. Yeah, I need to see it. No. Nice. This one, I like it. Okay. I'm setting a position absolute, and this absolute position is going to take the first relative position, which is on the container. So basically it's going to be relative to that container, to the comment container. Then I'm going to set a min height of 100%. So it's going to be as tall, as high as the container itself. And I'm going to show you now what this is. For the width, I can say 1 pixel, and for the position, I can say a left of minus 10 pixel. So basically I'm moving it to the left. If I now take a look at it, you can see, can you see it? Oh, I'm just zooming this. Okay, it doesn't work, but you can see this very small thin line right here. And this is actually the style that I want to give the comments, you know, the containers, so that you can keep track of all the nesting inside. Okay, now that we've done this, we can start doing some like exclusion, because you know what? I want to nest these containers one inside the other. The first one should not be included in this this property. And how do I select this? How I select it with a not. So basically I'm excluding it, and I say first child. So the first of its kind in each nesting is not going to have this property, and that is a margin of where is it? Okay, a margin left of 3 rem. What am I writing? 3 rem, nice, and a margin top of 1 rem. So basically this is going to give me the indentation, because if I nest something inside this container that has a class of common container, it's going to have a margin left of 3 rem. So it's going to be a little bit moved to the left, to the right, sorry. And I need this to create that nesting appearance, okay? Where am I? Okay, let's save this. Now I can start finally styling the comment card, which is probably the main element. I'm gonna give it a padding of 20 pixel. I like it. I can give it a background color of white, just to be sure that nothing comes through. I can say that I have a border 1 pixel solid. I'm gonna give it an alpha. So I want it black, but very faded black, 0.3. So this is basically 30% opacity. And I also want a border radius, just to make it, a little bit more curved. So my border radius is going to be this. And also I want to give it a property of min width of 100%. So its min width is going to be as large as the container itself. Okay, let's save it and let's see what it looks like. Look at this. You can see it's about well rounded, and this is going to be my comment. This is going to be the card. Remember, you see, this is the container, the general container. This is the common container, but it's not the card. And this is important, because when I add something to the container, it's going to be displayed as new cards. And you'll see how in a bit. Okay, let's go on with the comment. Where was I? Yeah. I can say, H3 and... these are just, oh no, it's not like this. It's like this, yeah. These are just functional stylings for the H3 and P. And I'm gonna set a margin bottom of 1 rem so that they are not too close to each other. So now I can see that I have some spacing here, some spacing here. One thing that I also want to, how did I call it? Comment footer. Maybe I should call it comment card footer, just not to be confusing. If I take this, I want to style this now. Okay. And what I want to do is display a flex so that I can manage it a little bit better. I want a font size that is a bit smaller, 0.85. This should be like 14 pixel or something. We can do it. If you don't know what it is, you basically do, like, if you want to know how much is 200 pixels in rams, you do 200 divided 16 and you have it, basically. I want an opacity of 0.6 just to be a bit less contrasty. I want a gap 30 pixel. I have a display of flex, so this gap property will work. I can do a justify content of flex end, and this is going to move them to the far right. And I'm going to align items in the center, so they're all going to be on the, like, a center line, exactly like this. Look at this, nice. This is looking very nice. You know what I could do? I could add a box shadow to the card. Let's add a box shadow. I don't want it to be like too much. So 0, 0, so X and Y. Now I need to specify the blur. Let's say 15 pixels, very subtle shadow. And here I can use like 0.1, very, very subtle. Yeah, you can even, I mean, you see it, but yeah, you don't really see it. I like it this way, why not? One last thing, show replies. I want a cursor of pointer, because when I go over it, I want the pointer to be displayed like this. And this is because when I click it, I want JavaScript to open all the related replies to this comment, to this first comment. Believe it or not, the styling for this one is done. This is all the CSS that we need to create nested components, nested comments. Now, as I said before, what we need to work with is the HTML. This is going to be the longest part, but I can do it like this. So the logic is this: if I want to show a reply to this comment, okay, I don't want to put it in the card, I want to put it in its own container. So I need to create another container inside this container. And to do that, I need to just, so the card stops here, and here I'm inside the container. If you want to know this level of nesting, you just look at the breadcrumbs here, and this tells you I'm in the container, I'm in the common container. So right below it, I'm gonna create another common container. And inside this common container, I'm gonna create another class, another card, which stops here. Common C, common V. Okay, and I can even put another one. So I have two cards here. And if I want to put like another comment to this one, I want to put it in its own container, because I can nest things into it. Because for instance, now I have this, which is inside the other container. As I told you, nesting is a little bit of a pain in the neck. But now these are two replies to this one. And I want to be specific with this, because it's easier to see. First of all, this one, I want to give it an ID. And the ID for now is just going to be first comment. This ID is going to be used by JavaScript to open it. And most likely this is going to be like a slug reference that you've given to the particular comment. And what I want to do here in this container is to give it a data. You can call it a data set. Why not? And this data set is going to be equal to this, to the first comment. And it basically will tell me what is this comment referring to. What is its parent? And I can even give it another ID. This is, I don't know, first reply, so that I can even nest something inside here. This container is going to have another data set. It's going to be first comment, because it's always going to be the children of the first comment. And now let's see how it looks. Now you can see that I have my nesting, okay? I have my margin here that is not here because I'm not selecting the first child. And I have my nesting here, but it still doesn't really work as I want. What I can do is nest something inside here. And here's where the magic starts. Because let's find this one. So this is the first reply. I want to nest something inside this first reply. Maybe somebody replied to my reply. So I need to say, okay, this is the card and it stops here. Wait a minute. Okay, the container. Okay, nesting is okay. All right. No, like this, I mean the card. Where is the container? Okay, I'm lost. Oh, wait, did I put it? Oh, okay, no. This, I shouldn't have put it this inside the other container. I should put it like beside. So this container stops where? Okay, right here. Nice. Let's save. Let's see if it's, yeah, it still works. Okay, so now if I want to put something inside this, where is it? This stops here. Yeah, because this is the card and this is the thing. Okay, here I'm gonna put another comment container. Okay, now this is going to have basically the same thing. I'm going to grab, let's see where the card stops. And the card stops. Am I putting it inside the card? No, the card stops here. Okay, this is the card. Let me copy paste. As I told you, nesting is not very easy to track. This is the first reply and this is the second reply so that we can see it. And this is actually the first reply to the first reply. Let's see if everything looks nice. As you can see, now I have my level of nesting. I know that this is related to this because it's indented, and basically these two are related to this one because they're indented. And I have my line basically just giving me a visual relationship, let's call it. But like this, it's quite confusing. I mean, you can just leave it like this and you can go on nesting. And if you want to nest something inside this, the first reply to the first reply, you nest it inside its container and you create another container. I can just do it like this. So the card stops here. So here I'm inside a container and here I can create another comment container. Okay. And inside here I create another card which stops here. Does it? Yeah. Okay, this is not the first reply to the first reply, but this is the first reply to the first reply to the first reply. You can see that nesting is not so easy. And now you can see that, yeah, the first reply to the first reply, and the first reply to the first reply to the first reply. It's quite confusing, especially if you see it like this, but the indentation works, okay? What I want to do now is give it a little bit of, functionality. And to do that, I'm going to use JavaScript. What I want to do is when I click on the reply, it shows me just the reply to that particular comment. How can we do that? Well, it's pretty simple because first of all, here I give it an ID to this one because it has replies. And to this particular div, I give it the dataset of first comment. The dataset is going to refer to its parent. What is it replying to? And I also want another ID because I got some further nesting. So inside this one that is nested, I want a dataset inside here as well. And this dataset is going to be like first reply. But I also want an ID here because this is as another reply. So this is the first reply. First reply. Simple as this. Now that I know that this is nested, I need to look for the other container that is nested inside, and I'm going to give it a data set of this one. This doesn't need any ID for now because there is nothing nested inside, but this as a data set of first comment because it refers to the first comment. And since it doesn't have any reply, well, I can say 0. I don't need that thing. Nothing changes. Everything is fine. Beautiful. Maybe let's hard code just to be a little bit clearer. So the first comment has 2 replies. The first reply has 2 replies. This one has 1 reply, but this one has 0. Let's see if this is 2. 1 and 2. This is 2. Oh, this actually has 1. Because, yeah, this actually has 1. You see? Beautiful. Okay. This actually has 1. The only reply is this. And this actually has 1. The only reply is this. Okay, how do we do this with JavaScript? Well, we open our index.js and we select all our buttons. So let's say show containers or show replies, call it whatever you want. And I'm gonna select in the document query selector all, because I got multiple of this, and I'm gonna show replies. If you don't remember, the show replies are basically this buttons, which are these things. Now, with a for each loop, I can grab all these containers and I can do something with them. I have the single button, and I'm gonna call it button, and I can do something like this. I can say button.add event listener, so I'm adding an event to each one, and I want to listen for a click, and then I got the event and I have a callback function. This callback function, for now, just to see if it works, let's console log here, something here, like it worked. Yoo-hoo! If I show the console here, let's see if I can see everything correctly, and I click on one, it worked. It worked again, it worked again. So basically all these pseudo buttons have an event attached to it. Every time I click it, something happens. So now I want to do something, particular, because I want to select their parent container. Okay. And basically what I do is I want to select the closest. So event.target is the button itself, that div. But I want to select the closest that has a class of comment container. So basically I want to select the closest comment container there is. That is going to be their parent. And I mean the parent of the button. Then I want to select the ID. And this is basically just parent container.id. This is a simple class. Basically what I'm doing when I click this, I want to grab this whole div. Now I'm selecting this, the first that has a class of comment container. And I'm selecting the ID, so this. And I need this because now I want to give it some logic. So let's say that I have an ID, so it's not none. What I want to do? Well, basically I want to select all the children containers. And for me, it's going to be parent container dot query selector. So basically, I'm just selecting in the parent container and not the document. And I want to select all those things that have a property like this data set. And I can even give it like what type of data set. And I want it to be equal. And this is why I'm using a string literal, because I can put something inside this ID. So basically, I want to select all the children containers that have a data set that is equal to this. In this case, it's first reply. And if I go here, dataset first reply. So I'm going to select this and just this, or all those divs that have this data set, basically. Once I select them all, I can do another for each. So children container of for each, and I need to open it somehow. So here I have the child, a single child, and I can give it a class list. Let's say class list dot toggle, so that it's just on and off, and I can give it off opened. Now this class doesn't exist, okay, but I just want to show you it works. So if we go to inspect and I go to one of the let's say this one, inspect. So basically this is in discard and it has a data set of first comment. So what should happen is it's an ID of first reply. So what should happen is that this one that has a data set of first reply should add a class right here of opened. Let's see if it works. Okay, so you see that I've added a class of open to this one. What does this mean? Well, it means that now I need some CSS that is very simple, because in the container here, I can add something like a display of none, and I can just say that comment container dot open. So if I have this class, it's a display of block. I'm displaying as blocks. So basically, now I'm not gonna see anything. Now everything disappears. What I need to do is the first comment, which is this one, I just add it manually here. So this one is always going to be open, okay? If I do it like this, everything should work like a charm. So what I expect is I want to be shown 2 replies. And as a matter of fact, I do. These are the 2 replies to the first comment. Here I have 1 reply, and I should be shown just the 1 reply. As a matter of fact, I do. And if I click one, I do. And if I click again, it disappears because it's a toggle. So I'm toggling the open class on and off. If I do this, if I do this, I close everything. This is a little bit tidier. So this is it. I think we covered everything. It was, as you could see, a lot of HTML, a bit of CSS, and a tiny pinch of JavaScript. But look at what we've done. This is the nested structure that you might implement in your websites, in your whatever you want to create. And as you can see, it's not as hard, as complicated as I was thinking. The first time I took a look at this, I thought it was more complex, but it's actually not. For this video, it is all. If you liked it, of course, leave a like and share, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you at the next one. Ciao.